Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Yakminakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. On June 19th, all right, the day that the world recognizes as Juneteenth, you can see, oh, I forgot an E, Juneteenth, and you can see it says it's a federal holiday observed annually on June 19th to commemorate the emancipation of enslaved Israelites in the United States. They say African Americans, but our people are not Africa. Even though we were dwelling in Africa, we're not Africans, all right, because our homeland is really Israel. Okay, just because you happen to be around, I mean, we've been other places, you know, longer than Africa, all right, and where our people don't originate from Africa. We were in that land for a little bit. We were in the all of Europe for a while, and we're not European American. I mean, they just want to, really the main reason why they say African Americans is because they want to lower you down to those Hamitic individuals, all right, one that our people don't even look like, okay, specifically the Southern Kingdom don't look anything like them at all, okay. And I'm referring to the Southern Kingdom because that's the kingdom of what would be called in this society, this modern day and age, so-called black people, so-called Negroes, all right, so-called people of color, colored people, all right, all these different names that they put on, you know, all of our people, all right, but those are the ones that they've put on specifically the Southern Kingdom, right? And so it's the official day, all right, that they've designated, all right, of, you know, your day, be happy and shut up, right? Meanwhile, they run Black History Month at the same month, all right, that, you know, the Moes get their month. Now, you can look up when is Pride Month, okay? It's June 1st, and you can look up when is Black History Month, and you can see that, oh, it's March. It's March. I got their whole thing was, that's weird. I guess the Pride Month, like, spills over because it'll be Black History Month and they'll have Pride stuff still going on. I don't know. What is National Coming Out Day? That's October 11th. I don't know. I don't know how it works. All right. I don't keep up with all these worldly things. You know, you don't know when Black History Month. I don't keep up with it because really every day is Black History Month. All right. Because everything's been created by so-called black individuals for the most part. You can go and look up, I mean, you wouldn't have modern day light bulbs if it wasn't for the so-called black person. You wouldn't have CCTV security systems if it wasn't for the so-called black person. You wouldn't have refrigerated trucks, all right, to transport food if it wasn't for the so-called black person. You wouldn't have the phone that's in your hand if it wasn't for the so-called black person. Why? Because it was an individual that led IBM that created the first gigahertz chip. All right, and what is a gigahertz chip? Mark Dean. As a matter of fact, IBM's website has him commemorated. Okay, it says at-home computing went mainstream in 1981 when IBM introduced its mass-market 5150 IBM PC to the world. In 1998, a computer processor designed in the company's Austin Research Lab researched 1 billion cycles per second, 1 gigahertz. 6 years later, the Blue Gene supercomputer clocked in at the fastest in history. There you go. It says there's a common thread across these technology landmarks. Mark Dean, an IBM engineer whose innovations and leadership helped shape the information age. Now, a lot of people like to say, oh, well, he just led a team, he did this. No, I mean, IBM themselves, all right, is commemorating this guy, okay? Because he was able to lead the team that was able to get 1 billion cycles per second equaling 1 gigahertz. And if you look how many gigahertz, how many, well, it's not even gigahertz now, it's megahertz. How many, in an iPhone 17, if I could hit it, Slocky, mic's in the way, 17 processor. 4.26 gigahertz. Okay. Okay, what am I thinking megahertz? One megahertz is 0.001 of a gigahertz. Slovakia. Anyway, so megahertz are actually, so if you go to 1,000 megahertz, that's only 1 gigahertz. So, Slovakia. I get those confused sometimes because megahertz are primarily in vintage computing. For example, the IBM, and actually that might have been by that one point. Let's see the IBM PC Junior. What did that? How many gigahertz or megahertz was that processor on that board? That's from 1984, so it's going to be in megahertz for sure. Less kilobytes. That's memory. Not looking for memory. Here we are. 4.77 megahertz. Okay, 4.77 megahertz. And these were like the old computers, right? These are like the cool old computers. I'm into a lot of the vintage stuff, as you know. So, sometimes I hear megahertz more than I actually do hear gigahertz, honestly. But modern stuff is measured by gigahertz, which shows you how modern this whole situation was. All right, that was in 1998. Okay, the first gigahertz computer, because before then, all right, with like the DOS, all right, IBM and IBM compatibles, all right, you had other home computers at the time, you know, Commodore 64, the Apple II, you had the Tandy, all right, which I believe was released by the Radio Shack, I believe. Yeah, it's Radio Shack and Radio Shack computer stores. Well, it was sold primarily, but it wasn't, I guess, made by Radio Shack. It was made by the Tandy Corporation. But you can see it was an IBM PC compatible, which means that it could run the same software. Say that this came out in 1984. Well, if we go back to the PC Junior, that was 1985. So it's going to be able to run the same software. You know, it was a lower cost variant of the IBM PC. With hardware capabilities better suited for video games. That's why I'm more familiar with it. It's better for video games, right? And why do they do that? To compete with other home computers such as the Apple II, which of course had the game, the famous game Wizardry, right? And then Commodore 64, which had a bunch of different games on it. The only game that really comes to mind is they had the Halloween game, all right, from the movie. But yeah, and they had, I believe, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was on there as well. But you know, step throughout history, you know, back then, if you're not really, if you're younger or if you're not really well acquainted with technological history, we've slowed down a lot in the development. Okay, like quite substantially. Brothers and sisters out there that have been acquainted with video games can tell you, like, from the 1970s, all right, with the Atari. All right, I'll do a little bit of a history lesson for you on video games here to show you how far we progressed in society, really. Because a lot of people don't understand how important Mark Dean was with this whole gigahertz chip, okay? Because we're slower at technological jumps than we were in the past, all right? So in 1970... three, four. Anyway, Atari 2600. Some reason 1972 or 1973 is coming to mind. When is it? 1977. Okay, I jumped it a few years. Atari, because before that, what they had was the Pong systems, like the Magnavox Odyssey, probably. Magnavox Odyssey. I'll start with the Magnavox Odyssey. That's 1972. Okay, this was like the first ever commercial home video game system. Okay, this right here. This is what it looked like. Okay, doesn't look like anything. If you saw this laying around today, you would not think that is a video game system. Mind you, our current gen systems are like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Right? This is what they look like. Okay, so this, this does look like a video. This one, the 2600 does, but this was the first one ever. Okay, and what was done with the and I promise you I'm gonna make a reason for this. I'm not just rambling on about history, but it's to show you that how we've really stopped in technological advancements. Okay, so this was 1972. Now all this could really do is generate a series of lines, and this would be what would be used was a like an overlay. Okay, let's see if you can find it. There was overlays. Okay, of course you had Pong, but I believe at that time, did Pong systems predate the Magnavox Odyssey. I believe they did because the Odyssey was the first home system, like a whole system, like you could run multiple games on it. They had Pong systems back then, which only ran Pong. No. It predated Atari's home Pong systems by 3 years. Okay, so it was the Magnavox Odyssey. So it started in 1966 and 8 when they designed the brown box, and that was basically the technology that was licensed to Magnavox. 1972 they came out with the Odyssey. 72 Pong arcade machine came out, and then 75 is when the Pong home systems came about. No, I'm not talking about the 2600, but the dedicated Pong systems. The model C100. Okay. Well, when was the... Okay, so that was 1977 when the 26... Okay, so I guess a year or two ahead, they released the Pong consoles, which just played Pong, right? It was in the arcades, and they wanted a way to bring it home, and then, you know, they brought Pong, and it only played Pong, right? Didn't do any of the other games. It didn't do Space Invaders. It didn't do Missile Command. It didn't do River Raid, all right? It didn't do Yar's Revenge. It didn't do any of those things, all right? Battle, Haunted House... no, not Battle, Combat. Didn't play any of those games, right? Instead, it just played Pong, okay, which is this. It's a line with 2 dots. Boop, 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 boop. It's basically tennis. That's it, right? Now, I believe for the other games, it could do Pong just fine, but I believe the other games would have a series of overlays. You know what? I might be thinking about the ColecoVision. Okay, never mind. I lied. I think it's the ColecoVision I'm thinking about. What was? No, it's not the ColecoVision either. It was the Magnavox Odyssey. TV overlays. This is the one that had the TV overlays, wasn't it? Some of them did. Yeah. Like this. Right? Because it was just dots. That's all it could generate was lines and dots. Right? So, anyway. So you see how primitive it was, alright? I'm getting a little rambly, but you see how primitive it was. Okay? This is... Half of the people these days would sit around, they wouldn't want to play this shit. They'd think it's boring, right? Atari 2600 really revolutionized the, what we know today. This is the game I was talking about, Combat. Alright? Let me show you what this looked like. Boom. Alright, this game kicks ass. Alright, absolutely full out. You know, you have a tank, the other person has a tank, and you could click a little button on the top of the machine, and it would change. You know, there was different levels. Alright, well, it's only showing us one. That's Combat 2. That looks almost like River Raid, but in the horizontal instead of vertical. But yeah, you would just go around. You'd it had the little sound, and it was horrible, sawtooth like type synth sound, and you go around and you just try to shoot each other. That was the whole game. Okay, that was the whole game, and it was great. But you know, that's the graphics went to that level. Then after that, all right, in 1982, we were already getting into the Nintendo Entertainment System. All right, in 83. Before that, you had the Atari 5200. All right, let's see if we can see a game on it. Atari 5200 games. Okay, this is more on par with almost like a little bit better than like a Commodore 64. All right. Oh shit! Look, it's the same game. It's the same game, right? Basically, as that's Malibu Grand Prix. This is, I don't know if it's Malibu Grand Prix, but it sure the hell looks like it. But what game was it? I guess they didn't port it, but oh, Pole Position. It was Pole Position. A lot of those games had the same like look back then. I mean, later on we got a game called what was that game called? What was that game called, man? You drove around in a car out. Was it Outrun game? Was it Outrun? It was Outrun. Yep, Outrun. All right, but this is when graphics got a little bit better. But anyway, you see, you jump up a couple years, and this came out in 1986. All right, and this was this came out on what? Sega Outrun. Well, this is the arcade version. It also released on home consoles as well. Outrun game. Was it on NES? It might have been on SNES. Yeah, SNES, I think. Or Sega. Anyway, but you see, anyway, I'm not going to go through the whole history. But to show you the processor of an NES, now this is the one that most brothers and sisters are going to remember. All right, this is most people's first system right here. Either that or the SNES, all right, the Super Nintendo. Now, Jake knows Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this. Well, let's look at the, what was the CPU? All right, 1.79 megahertz. All right, or the second edition is the different version is 1.66 megahertz. All right, now this was an 8-bit console. All right, at that time you had the bit wars, and then later on came the Super Nintendo, which was a 16-bit console. All right, again, this is one that a lot of brothers and sisters are gonna remember. All right, that's the one over that you got in the Europe. That's what it looked like in Japan. But going down here, let's see what its CPU had. 3.58 megahertz. So that's quite a substantial jump. All right, and then if we go from there to really the next best thing from there was the PlayStation 1. Okay. You had a couple steps between it. You had the Dreamcast, I believe. And that came out in 98. It was the first 6th edition console. Okay, so no, we need to go back to the 5th edition. The PlayStation, that was so 1993. So we went from the Super Nintendo, all right, to so 4th generation. So the 4th generation was TurboGrafx 16, the Mega Drive or Genesis, SNES, the CDI, which almost no one had, the Neo Geo, again, almost no one had. So, and those were released in TurboGrafx was 1987, 1990, the CDI was 91, the Neo Geo was 90. So yeah, those are the 4th generation. So 5th generation, and that's when we first got into like real modern stuff. Now, being that Mark Dean created it in 1998, that means that these did not yet have a gigahertz chip either. Sony PlayStation had a chip of 33.87 megahertz. Now, just judging off of that, I'm guessing probably the PlayStation 2 is probably going to be the first one to actually use like a 1 gigahertz chip. Still not. No, still no. Nope. What was the first? The Xbox, the original Xbox wouldn't have had it either then. It was, to say, almost close. 733. Huh. I'm curious, what was, and mind you, at this point, if you don't remember the games, they jumped up to looking, Halo should be in here, at least. Promise, there's a rhyme for the reason why I'm showing you and telling you all this, brothers, because look, in just a few years, it went from Atari's Pitfall. Okay. Super Mario. Okay. Super Mario. To... No, that was, which one was on the, we'll just go with, Castlevania Dracula X. Because that was on the Super Nintendo. This. Okay. From this to this to this to what PlayStation 1? Gran Turismo 1. To this. Okay. This is the better picture. Right? To... It's a good PlayStation 2 game. Oh, Grand Theft Auto 3. Or San Andreas. Right? So we went from this. Really? Went from this to this to this to this to this to this to... Let's go with to this. All right. See how it, like, things started slowing down. All right. To... That was a 360. Well, shit, that's a great example. Get... Find a good example. Slovakia. Just showing you. There's a good example. Alright. Let me try to find a better example. That one's kind of blurry. Alright. Now, how the past few years we haven't had anything. What's a new game? Hell, I don't play many new games. I'm trying to think of something I own. Oh. Well, not the best example. Let's get, because that's more of a technical game, not graphics. Let's go with, you know what, fuck it. New game just came out. Forza Horizon 5. And this shit's pretty damn near realistic. But if you look at all these, okay, we were having significant jumps. All right, there's no jumps anymore. It's the same thing with music. Okay, here's an example. I want to get this scripture. This is Ecclesiastes 12:4, and it says, "And the door shall be shut in the streets." Let's get verse 3. It says, let's just start from verse 1. Ecclesiastes 12:1. "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them." Because you're not going to have any pleasure in these years, because there's no pleasure to be had in these years, because the music ain't good, the movies ain't good, all right, the games ain't good, all right, the books ain't like that. And I mean, there is some to be enjoyed in them, slightly, right? But like the movies now, they just can't be compared, man. They can't be compared, right? All the movies that came out in the 70s, 80s, all right, 90s, even up into the early 2000s, they don't have that anymore. All right, the movies, it's just it's different. It's different. I mean, look, man, look at hell. Everybody's, you know, the younger brothers have seen it. Look at Shrek. All right, in 2001. All right, and then look at fucking Shrek 5, man. They fucked it all up. Look at how ugly it looks, you know, and it just looks horrible, you know. And everybody's complaining about it. Everyone's fucking complaining about it. Everyone is complaining. They don't like it. They don't like the way it looks. All right, they fucked it up. For example, one of the characters, this character right here, they gave this character brown eyes, but in the earlier Shreks, that character had green eyes when she was a baby, or blue eyes, excuse me, just like her mom. So, and then they had to go back in the new trailer, they had to fix it, and they keep on fucking up. They just can't get anything right, man. And that's because the Lord's he's shutting it down. Okay, he's shutting it down. And the music now, the only way it sounds good is if they literally go and try to copy, all right, what the music from the 80s or 70s or 60s or 50s sounded like. There's nothing original anymore. And it's because the Lord's shutting the doors on this place, man. It says, remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. You know, and that's the other thing. We're having horrible issues with the economy. All right, jobs just awful, right? You know, the grinding is low, and that people are not really having, especially here in Vegas. I mean, unemployment's to the fucking roof. You know, most people here don't have jobs, man. It says we're third in the nation now. We moved down. All right, it used to be we were number 2, but I think what states with highest unemployment? Yeah, it's Delaware. Delaware moved above us. California, Delaware. District of Columbia. I guess that's well, you know, District of Columbia. Where the hell's that at? The fuck is the District of Columbia? Washington, D.C. That's okay. Okay, D.C. District of Columbia. Okay, so Washington, D.C. Just say D.C. Good Lord. They have the highest. Then California, Delaware, and Nevada. All right, so we're up in the top 4, top 5. If you want to do the top 5, it would be Washington, D.C., California, Delaware, Nevada, and Washington State. Okay, but it's bad. Okay, it's bad. I don't know when this whole situation happened, but I remember the top 3 with California, Nevada, and then I don't remember if it was Delaware under it, but I guess Delaware superseded us, which I guess that's good. All right. But it's still bad here, man. Most people are just doing Uber Eats or like doing side hustles and shit, right? So Ecclesiastes 12:3, trying to be self-employed. That's the only thing you can really do here right now, because you can keep applying to jobs and they won't call your ass. It says, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. All right, of course, no jobs. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And, you know, music is just hot garbage now. All right, and so we, as a society, have already had the peak. All right, now it's been in a decline for a long time. Right, the games aren't good. This era of games, of Grand Theft Auto 5, that was like the last, and that was what, 2012 that came out? Maybe 13? Oh. 13. Okay? That was like the last time any decent games came out. Okay? Let's see, 2013 games. It used to give you a whole bunch. Tomb Raider, I thought that game was... I didn't even play it because it looked like shit. Black Flag, a lot of people like that one. Bioshock Infinite, it was okay. Grand Theft Auto was great. Rust, it was okay. Don't Starve, didn't like it. Arma 3 is pretty good. SimCity, that was a failure. What else they got on IMDb? Let's see. Grand Theft Auto, Last of Us, that was pretty acclaimed. Bioshock Infinite, it was alright. Flashlight, it was alright. Blacklist, alright. Tomb Raider, didn't like it. Black Bat, it was alright. Brothers, never played it. Rayman Legends, it was alright. Outlast was alright. The Wolf Among Us, alright. Devil May Cry wasn't one of the good ones. Metal Gear, never liked those games. Stanley Parable, nope. Injustice, not as good as Mortal Kombat. Battlefield 4, fucking excellent. Saints Row, not as good as the third. SimCity was garbage. Dead Rising 3 was garbage. The first one was the best one. Second one was pretty good, but Dead Space 3, it wasn't 1 or 2, but a lot of people liked it anyway. God of War, they were okay. Crysis 3, not a fan of the Crysis games too much. I mean, I played them. They're decent shooters. They did a lot of like frameworks. Gears of War, never liked the series. Rise on Rome, didn't play it. Beyond Two Souls, not a fan of those type of games. Ghosts, ugh, that was a divisive. I remember when that came out. It was very divisive. A lot of people didn't like it. The multiplayer was kind of shit. So yeah, 2013, not a good year for gaming. All right. Grand Theft Auto was, and Battlefield 4 were like a so what I want to say? They were like a diamond in the rough. All right. We got for 2012, a lot of good games in 2012. Dishonored, fantastic. Guild Wars 2, pretty damn good. Borderlands 2, fantastic. Far Cry 3, fantastic. Diablo 3, fantastic. Torchlight 2, fantastic. Battlefield 3, awesome, fantastic. Max Payne 3, I'm not the biggest fan. Let's see what else we got. There's a lot here. Hotline Miami was pretty cool. Dark Souls, Prepare to Die edition, that was pretty fucking cool. What else? Mist of Pandaria for World of Warcraft expansion. Fucking, that was my favorite expansion ever. Kingdoms of Amalur, one of my favorite fucking games of all time. Let's go to 2011. I want to show you how things... Come on. 2011, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, one of the best games of all time. Minecraft's official release, fucking fantastic. Portal 2, awesome game. Batman Arkham City, pretty good game. Everybody likes Human Revolution. It's okay. Battlefield 3, fantastic. The Witcher 2, not 3, great. Dead Space 2, great. Crysis 2, my favorite one of all of it. Dirt 3, I remember liking that. That was good. Saints Row, that was great. See how, as you go back, there's more games that are better. All right. What else do we got? This is 2010. Okay, Mass Effect 2, fantastic. StarCraft 2, a lot of people loved, not a fan. Bioshock 2, known as a great game. World of Warcraft Cataclysm, fantastic. Well, divisive. That was divisive. Amnesia, great. Assassin's Creed 2, I'm not the biggest Assassin's Creed fan, but that was one of the best ones. Fallout New Vegas, one of the best games of all time. Darksiders, a lot of people like that. But what if we go back to 05, because it started getting lower. San Andreas, fucking fantastic. Chaos Theory, fantastic. Battlefield 2, fantastic. Guild Wars, fantastic. Fear, fantastic. Road to Hill 30, it was pretty decent. Call of Duty 2, fantastic. SWAT 4, fantastic. NASCAR Sim Racing, fantastic. That changed the whole market for sim racings. All right, sim racing games. That was created by the same people that go on to do R Factor. Which is was basically one of the biggest sim racing games. All these different things, man. It's the same thing with music. Look at music releases now, and they're all going to be fucking garbage for the most part, unless you go with underground stuff that's trying to sound old, right? But anyway, it would not have been done. None of this would have happened. Okay, long ramble there. All right, on a history lesson. If it was not for Jake creating the gigahertz chip. Okay, matter of fact, I forgot to ask, what was the first game system with a gigahertz chip? GameCube. Let's see. No, it got it wrong. Wait, that's incorrect. Let's get the right one. See, this is why AI is fucking horrible. The first gaming system with a processor that crossed the gigahertz barrier was the Microsoft Xbox 360. 3.2 gigahertz. So it was quite out there. But you know, before that you had the PC. All right, so PC had gigahertz chips for longer than the 360. But the 360 was the first home system that had a gigahertz chip like that. And you wouldn't have that if it wasn't for this man right here. All right. So, yeah, man. But anyway, a lot of people like to discredit Jake, right, for the things that they've done. But at the end of the day, everything is for Jake, okay? Or everything is for Jake by Jake, okay? Because why? Because American history is black history. Every day is black history because everything's been created by black people. All right, there's a whole list of modern air conditioning, the ambulances being a thing. I mean, there's just a million different inventions out there that were created by black people. So really, you don't need a Black History Month. You don't need a Black History Day. You don't need Juneteenth. You don't need any of the. Well, you don't need Juneteenth because nobody's free. All right, you're all bought and sold as birth certificates. All right, now you can go and look that up, and it's going to say it's a conspiracy theory, but they essentially work as stock. All right, they just buy them. All right, they're all bought and traded. Okay, but anyway. Long, rambly opening. We're going to get into this lesson here. Again, titled, Beware of Being Brutish. Okay, beware of being brutish. And, do I want to open with something else? Let me see. Actually, let's see. I don't want to do it. You know what? I'll save that. Because I was going to do that, but we ended up going on a different tangent. And what we're going to do now is get, let's see. Get a couple scriptures here. And we'll just end this one out after I get a couple scriptures, just dealing with how everything's really been. If it wasn't for Jake, you wouldn't have nothing. Okay? So let's get 1 Peter 2:9. And it says, But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of the darkness into his marvelous light. Now, what I want to do is I want to touch on peculiar meaning. All right, we're different. All right, you know that saying. You know how Jake has that saying, we're built different. Well, we're literally built different. Okay, we're peculiar. We're different. So let's go and get that word peculiar. Peculiar. Goes back to this word.
Strong's G 4047. Peripoiesis. Peripoiesis.
All right. Peculiar, and it goes back to peculiar with G 15 and 19. So we need this one. Ice. All right. It says peculiar. Let's see. Come on. See if we can get another one. Matter of fact, let's just go to the blue letter. Spelled that wrong. Let's see. Peculiar treasure unto me. Okay, again, dealing with the Israelites. Right there. Children of Israel. All right, talking about Israelites. Peculiar. Okay, possession, valued property, peculiar. I'm trying to get the word peculiar here to show you what it means. Try it. Let's see what else we got. I'm gonna keep doing it until we can find a peculiar people. Right here, this is a good one. Deuteronomy 14:2. For thou art an holy people, I mean separate, unto the Lord thy power, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all nations that are upon the earth. Okay, so let's go, again, it says, above all nations that are upon the earth. So we're above all nations. We're above all people. That's why again, you can go and look it up. Black inventions. All right, you can go and look these things up. The almanac, the baby buggy, blood plasma bag, cellular car phone, corn harvester, the elevator, the electric lamp, the emergency fire escape mechanism, the fire extinguisher, the gas mask, the guitar, ice cream itself, imaging x-rays, lawnmowers, mailboxes, mops, peanut butter, potato chip, strengthening combs, and then of course the traffic light. And there's that. All these things want to be highly debated, all right, by white people. But if you look into it, all right, you Edomites, all right, because that's what you really are. You masquerade as being white, and you say our people are black or Mexican or whatever. But you know, you put all these different covering casts on us and yourself, really. But we know who you are, all right, and that's why you hate us so much, and you don't give credit because you're a dirty, filthy Edomite. Okay. Above all nations that are upon the earth, again, so we're above all the other nations, and that's why we have the strength. Again, we're a peculiar people, we're different, we're built different, and we're separate. Really, we're not of this place. So peculiar, that goes back to the same word we got earlier. Let me see. It means peculiar, a treasure, a special. Okay, special, there we go, peculiar. And really, if we go and get the modern definition for peculiar, we'll go and get it in the Johnsons. Peculiar, not common, okay, not common, particular, appropriate, not common to other things, exclusive property, which we are also the exclusive property unto the Lord, but also meaning not common, all right, we're not common, we're not just your regular run-of-the-mill people, all right, we're on a different level. I'm on a new level, right? Jake likes all that music, right? You're on a new level, all right? You're completely above these nations. And they're trying to say, and that's why they try to go, and when they teach you these things, they got Jake with the equality bullshit. Well, you're not equal, okay? You're not equal, Jake. You never will be, because you want to know why? Because you're above. You can't equalize yourself with the so-called white man, with an Edomite. You can't equalize yourself with them. Why? Because you're better, okay? You're better. So, yeah, and again, that's why it's not about a skin color thing at the end of the day. This is about a bloodline thing. Jake goes back to Jake, all right, Jacob, okay? That's what it's short for, Jacob, all right, Jacob. And through him, the 12 tribes of Israel came, all right? And that was the Lord's chosen people. It's not about if you're black or brown. No, our people are originally melanated people, but not every black person out there is an Israelite, and not every white person's an Edomite, okay? It's not a skin color thing, it's an Israelite thing. Israelites are peculiar. Melanated skin isn't peculiar. I mean, it is in a way, because again, it's special and it's above, leprous skin, but it's not. That's not what makes you who you are. Okay, that's not what makes or breaks you. All right, it's about your soul, your spirit. That's what makes or breaks you at the end of the day. And that Jake don't really understand that. That's why there's a black guy could go into the hood, so-called black guy could go in the hood, and like everybody wouldn't like him. I don't like him. He's weird. There's a saying with so-called black folk that goes, I see my people, but I don't hear my people. All right, talking about these cooned out individuals. Well, some of those people aren't coons. All right, some of those people are just Edomites. All right, they're basically the same people as the white man. But they're just wrapped up in a chocolate wrapper. That's all. Right, and that's why these people don't really understand things, and they try to claim our people. All right, they try to claim Eminem. Right, they try to claim George Carlin. They try to claim all these different. All these guys were funny. These guys were great rappers. These guys were great musicians. Well, these guys were all Jakes. Okay, these guys were all Jakes. Oh, can't forget Elvis, right? Now, it was the Apostolic Bar that convinced me that Elvis was a Jake, because I didn't know too much about his history, right? And I was like, no, that guy's an Edomite. He's like a what they would call a culture vulture, right? He just profited off of black music. I never thought he was that good of a musician. Still don't think he's the greatest musician. I don't like the Beatles either too much. I mean, some of their music's pretty good, but not too much into that stuff. I'm more into the not that, right? And you say, oh, you don't like the older music. I do love older music. For example, I like music that's older than Blackie, my chair's messing up. 1 minute. I like music that's older than Elvis, right? Shit like the like Skeeter Davis, Louis Armstrong. Well, yeah, technically older. The Ink Spots. Who else? Dion. A lot of different older. Can't forget Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, right? Can't forget him. Who else? Let's see. Lightning Hopkins. All right. He predates. He was born in 1912. He was. When was his first album? 1946. Yeah, he predates. Elvis by a little while. So I like that stuff, but not a big fan. I mean, on blue suede shoes. Like, don't step on my blue suede shoes. That's fine, right? But I wouldn't consider it like particularly immaculate. All right, and I think maybe that's one of the reasons I was like, I don't know, I'm not too into it. You know, I don't think he's a Jake because the music's not too good. But when you know about his story, you know, it kind of opens everything up, and you're like, oh shit, all right, well, never mind. But our people are peculiar. We're above all the nations. Again, that need to drive that in. Above all the nations. What are the nations? All right. It says nations, people, nations. Well, really, again, in the Blue Letter Bible was the Blue Letter Bible. It doesn't have the you can't get the Holy Spirit working with the Blue Bible. All right. I mean, you can have the Holy Spirit and use it. But if you don't have it, it's not going to be any help for you, because a lot of the time you have to read between the lines with it. Above all nations is really done. Now they say a people, a congregated unit, a tribe, as those of Israel. No, it's not of Israel. All right. Well, it can be the nation of Israel, but the nations. All right. When it's used like this, above all the nations. All right. The nations are, of course, it should say here. It should say of foreigners of Israel. All right, foreigners to Israel. All right, or of those that are of those who are non-Israelites. Okay, but they don't have it there. It just means people or men. That's what it should be there, because it's referring to the heathen nations. Okay, because it wouldn't make sense of those of Israel. Well, it wouldn't make sense to say Israel's above all of the Israelites. That doesn't make no sense. That doesn't make no sense. Okay, so that's they do these definitions because, again, they didn't know. All right, the Blue Letter Bible, I don't know who made it, but it was probably an Edomite at the end of the day, so they're not going to know. They're not going to put those things in there. They got to read between the lines. And as the Apostolic Bar went into on a lesson, I don't know, he either made it within the day or the last few days. You can't really explain anything to Christians because they're just going to not. Or what was that? It was Elder Menat Zatba. Excuse me. I was watching Elder Menat Zatba and Apostolic Bar today, so I kind of got them confused. I don't remember which one it was. There was a lesson titled, let me see if I can find it. Oh, right here. How to Trap One West Hebrew Israelites. All right. 8 catch-22 traps. Well, he was saying in that lesson, you know, you can try to explain it to them, but they're just going to say that that's not the case because they don't have the Holy Spirit working with them. They don't get it. All right. They don't understand at all. So there's not much we can really do if you can't get it. You're just going to not believe, and that's it. I mean, we can't force you to get it, and you were right. Oh. But again, Jake is above all nations. All right. Israel's above all the other nations. And that's why all these different things. All right. And like these Edomites that like to go and talk shit. Okay. They like to talk shit. Well, online, you wouldn't even be talking shit if it wasn't for the gigahertz chip, man. Okay. You wouldn't even be able to do it. Would not even be able to do it. Matter of fact, let's see. First smartphone. I remember, like, it was like the earliest ones I remember is the BlackBerry, and then the of course the first iPhone. Let's see which one it was. That was the first smartphone. iPhone. When did the BlackBerry come out? History of smartphones. Because these aren't, I'm talking about the modern as we know. Early smartphone. Okay, BlackBerry. So, the Danger Hip Top. So that was a, they say, so it's the T-Mobile Sidekick. Danger Hip Top. Also branded as the Sidekick. I know it as the Sidekick. I don't know if they must have called that in a different country. Let's see. This is, what did it use? Did it use Java software? Okay, so this is not what we know today. Okay, this is still like the older type situation. Let's see if it had a gigahertz chip. I'm betting that it did not. Let's see. Let's see. 2011. Weight, dimensions, camera, memory. There might not be that much information about it. Let's see. There, yeah. There we go. Well, that's the Samsung Sidekick 4G. Right there with the Sidekick 4G. Like the modern one. Well, I'm trying to find out. Let's see. Let's just go. Let's jump up to the iPhone, the first iPhone. See what it had. Operating system. Battery. Memory. Need to know what the CPU. What does the fucking CPU have in it, man? Hardware. Internal hardware. Underclocked from a 620 megahertz to a slower 412 megahertz to increase battery life. And mind you, the first iPhone, you could not install apps on it. Okay, you can go and fact check that if you want. Could you install apps on first gen iPhone? Should say no. No, you cannot. Okay, it wasn't until the I believe the 3G, the 3G. All right. See the first, so iPhone, and then its predecessor was what? The 3G, and then 3GS. All right, those were in 08. Let's see what they had. Software, hardware. Come on, man. It's hard to find information. $600. Okay, let's go with the iPhone 4. 1 gigahertz, technically. So that's the first, not necessarily the first phone, but the first iPhone, all right, where you could actually go the gigahertz. All right, iPhone 3GS. iPhone 3GS. And I believe this one you could install apps. Yes, you could. You could install apps. So that's the first one, really, that you could start going on the internet and talking shit with. Okay? That's one right there. And why it didn't necessarily have a gigahertz chip, it was damn well up there. And still, you want to know what they had on that? Because you say, oh, well, the gigahertz chip, you know, we didn't need it. We could have still had this phone. We could have still been in this. Well, first of all, you'd be, those are considered quite primitive now. But you know what type of keyboard they have on them? Let's see if I can find the one with the keyboard pulled up. It's the same keyboard that you have on your phones now. There it is. Okay, the QWERTY keyboard. Where did the QWERTY keyboard originate? It originated with IBM again. They say it was on typewriters, but sure. That's not what we're talking about. That's where it said it came from. But the modern layout that we have, it says piano style. Let's see. Market dominance. Where did the modern QWERTY keyboard come from? Let's see. See, they do all this type of different shit. But really, who invented the modern keyboard layout? Okay. They're lying. They're bullshitting again. Okay. Did the Model M IBM change the way keyboards were forever? All right. Yes, the IBM Model M permanently changed the computing world, released in 1985. It established the foundation for virtually all standard keyboards. 101 key standard, which again, you're gonna get most of those keys in this. When you go to the symbols, you're gonna get all sorts of different types of shit, and then if you hold on certain letters, you're gonna get all these different types of things. Inverted T arrow keys. Separated arrow key clusters, that's the big one. Buckling springs, durability. But yeah, it was really, if you look at keyboards before that, it wasn't anything like we have today. Okay, but I guess the QWERTY goes back further than that. So either way, all right. Jake had a deep, how do I want to call it? They had they're basically deeply intertwined, all right, with technological history. Okay, and you wouldn't be able to damn near complain without all these modern apps. Okay, all these different modern apps require a decent amount of processing power. So you wouldn't even be able to bitch and do that much racist shit online as you like to do if you didn't have those gigahertz chips, which were, again, made by Jake. So let's go on and get... Where were we here? Get one more. Let's get... Let me see. Do we want to get another peculiar people? Maybe we'll get another peculiar people scripture. All right. It's like I'm just slower on this one, but the next one we're gonna bring the heat better. This one's more of like a history dive, but let's just type in peculiar again. Peculiar. Let's see. I mean, that's one of the best ones, but let's try to get, these are all the ones that have the word peculiar in them. Let's just go through most of them, the ones that stand out. Again, Exodus 19:5. Now therefore, if you obey my voice indeed and keep my commandments, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. There we go. And then we got Deuteronomy 14:2. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power, and the Lord hath chosen thee for a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. There you go. Above all, above all, above all, above all. All right. What else? I mean, we'll close out with that one. It's just good to drive it home that our people are above all. Okay. So really, but at the end of the day, the whole Juneteenth shit is it's just a bunch of bullshit. It's to keep you distracted. It's like giving someone $1 million and breaking them off $10. All right, and then breaking you off $10. All right, they give someone else $1 million, they break you off $10. You're like, oh, gee, thanks. You know, here it is. You know, he gave this guy $1 million, this guy $1 million, this guy $1 million, this guy $1 million. Comes to you, here's $10 for you. And then you say, man, they got $1 million. Hey, man, are you gonna complain? Be thankful you got something at all. All right, we don't have a day for ourselves. Meanwhile, they all them having $1 million. That's basically what happens to our people. But anyway. I thought this was going to be the other lesson, but anyway, I ended up going on a tangent, so slack you for that. I know it wasn't the hottest lesson on the block, all right, but this next one, I'm going to try to bring some more heat with, and that one's going to be titled Beware of Being Brutish. And of course, in the same spirit of Juneteenth, because our people have an issue with being argumentative and brutish and, savage, acting savage, all right? Because, that's what Esau calls our people, savages. But then they tried to, our people tried to reclaim it and be like, oh, I'm a savage. That was a whole thing in rap for a while, all right? Turn into a savage, I'm a savage, all this different. You're not a savage, all right? Really, a savage is what Esau is in the caves, all right? That's a savage, all right? That's a primitive man. That's a savage. You are not a savage, Jake, okay? So that's where we're going to close out with this one. Lord willing, it was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.